Dad, I just meant to prank Veronica because she kept pranking me. But then she went crazy and tried to attack me, and all those other kids got stains on their clothes trying to stop her, and then Mr. Gibson had to pull her out of the room, and that's how he got his suit stained. But even then, it wasn't supposed to be that bad, because it was all water-based paint instead of oil-based paint, because that's easier to get out, and the fight in the gym was completely separate from me, but then I got lumped in with all that other stuff.
Just stop.
Ted closed his mouth, knowing his dad wasn't going to let him off the hook. Dad sat silently, thinking for a moment before he asked,
You seem to have an excuse for everything, don't you?
Ted didn't answer. Kid rule number 18. When being scolded by an adult, say nothing if at all possible. Each violation increases scolding by 10 minutes.
You don't seem to get that this is your second chance and you're blowing it. Other kids less fortunate than you are would kill to be in your position, but here you are, creating a bad reputation in your new environment. I remember before we moved, you were desperate for a change. A new home, a new school, and a chance to start fresh. You used to come home to roaches. You used to get beaten up. Now you come here, and you get a hero's welcome, a nice big house, friends, opportunities, and what do you do with that? Splash paint on some girl's chair? Spend all your time on video games and pranks? And that huge basement, the one we bought just so you'd have space to work on new inventions, and that supercomputer in the basement, all gathering dust. I think it's time I told you the full story of how we moved here.
Ted's face scrunched up in confusion. What was there to know? Apparently, a lot more.
That time you snuck onto government property and stole their technology, they had a mind to prosecute you and throw you in juvenile hall. They only reconsidered when one of their own generals decided to be lenient to you. But the next step down from that was a trespassing fine of $20,000. And another fine of $50,000 for the stuff you stole. When you were away at school, your mom and I got a visit from the FBI. Long story short, they learned that we wanted to move, which worked out great for them because they didn't want you anywhere near a military base again. So you know what they did? They put in good words for both your mom and me, and we both got high-paying jobs in Miracle City, which, if you haven't noticed, is the only major city in the United States without a military base nearby.
Mr. Addison paused for effect as Ted stared at the floor.
Yeah, we were funneled here by the government so you wouldn't cause any more problems. We barely escaped heavy fines and harsh punishment. Oh, and have you noticed how we haven't been back to Ecclesia to visit your grandparents? It's because we're banned from the town. Your grandparents now have to drive up here to see you.
Both Ted and Matt's eyes arched up at the news. But there was more. Dad sighed as he turned back forward in his seat.
I don't know if I made the right decision by not telling you back then, but how do you tell a kid who just saved a city that he was still in trouble? It's like you didn't realize how bad a place you were in at the time. Like, psychologically. You really needed a win. You needed to feel like you belonged. You needed friends. You needed a chance to spread your wings without this thing hanging over your head. So we buried it, thinking you'd make better decisions now that you've started a new life. But instead,